Hi all, welcome to Web Technology Laboratory. I am Yashashwini AR, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, MIT, Mysore. In today's session, I will be discussing the lab program number 8. First, understand the question. Write a PHP programs to do the following. Here we need to perform some 4 different tasks here. That is, implement the simple calculator operations, find the transpose of a matrix, multiplication of two matrices, and lastly addition of two matrices. Here, these are all the concepts, that is the basic concepts we already know that in our lower semesters. That is implementing the simple calculators using C program and also performing transpose, multiplication and addition of two matrices using the C program. Now let us know how to implement these things using the PHP script. Here, first I am discussing how to implement the simple calculator operations using PHP program. First, let us have a look on this code snippet for implementing the simple calculator operations. This is about the code snippet for implementing the simple calculator operations using PHP script. Now let us discuss in detail about this script. The first thing is here, try to understand we are embedding both the PHP as well as the HTML document. Inside that HTML document, we are writing the PHP script. That is, we are directly embedding that PHP script in our HTML document. Every HTML document should start with a tag called as the root tag, and it defines the whole HTML document. The next tag is called as the head tag, which contains the descriptive elements about the document. The next thing is the style. In order to display the document in a different representative way, we are using the cascading style sheets. The style sheets, in order to make use of the style sheets, we are using the tag called as the style tag, which defines the style information for a document. Again, the cascading style sheets, we know that which are used to format the layout of a web page. The cascading style sheets can be added to a HTML document in 3 ways, that is inline, internal as well as the external. As we already know that inline means inside the element itself we can specify the properties for that element. Internal means we are embedding the CSS part inside that HTML document. And lastly, the external. External means we are separately creating one file and then we are giving some reference to that HTML document. Anyhow, we are using the second type called as the internal cascading style sheets. That is, we are embedding the cascading style sheets inside the HTML document. Usually, the style sheets part will be specified inside this head tag. Next is the how to specify that style sheets. For that means, for that reason we are using the cascading style sheets selectors, which are used to select the HTML elements want to style. Here we are using element selectors. There are different selectors which are available in the cascading style sheets, but we are using the element selectors. The name itself tells that whenever these elements are present inside the HTML document, the properties, whatever the properties which we have specified here, these properties will be applied for that elements. Next, these are all called as the properties called as the text properties, color or a background, border, spacing, sizing, etc. Here we used different properties called as the border of the table should be 1 pixel solid black, and width, that is the sizing of the table, should be 35%. The alignment of the text should be at the center, and the background color of the table should be the dark gray. And also the margin. The margin of that table should be auto. That is it says the layout of that the window, whatever which is displaying on the screen. Next is the input as well as the p tag. The text alignment should be the right. Whatever the input we are giving, it should be at the right side. After that, closing the style tag as well as the header tag. Next, let's start with the body tag. What do you mean by that? Body tag means we know that the element which defines the document's body. Here we used one tag called as the form method is equal to post. What do you mean by that? Form tag means this tag which is used to create an HTML form for the user input. Try to understand what is our task in this program. Here we need to design a program which should performs the simple calculator operations. Simple calculator operations means what? We need to perform addition, subtraction, multiplication as well as the division. For that purpose, we need to give the input, right? The user should give the input. The input has been taken in terms of using this form tag. The form tag which is used for the user interaction. That is for the communication between the user to the system. We are using the form tag. And again, this form tag takes the different attributes called as the method as well as the action. Here we are using only the method attribute, and which takes the two different values, the post as well as the get. Here we are using the post. What do you mean by that? Post means here what is the use of that post means this method attribute specifies that how to send the form data. If it is method is equal to form means used for sends the form data as the HTTP post transaction. We are sending some informations. Try to understand posting, that is we are sending some information and the informations will be executed on the server side. Later the results will be displayed on the user browser's screen. Next starts with the table tag. We already know that HTML table tags which are used to create a table in terms of rows and columns. Next is the caption tag. What do you mean by that? HTML caption tag means which defines the table caption. The caption tag must be inserted immediately after this table tag. Along with that, we use one more heading tag called as the H2, which specifies the heading called as the simple calculator. And one more thing, the caption tag is a block tag. You should have a closing tag. Next is the TR. We already know that TR is called as the table row, which is used to create a table row by using that TR tag, which is having both the opening as well as the closing tag. Here first we are creating the first table row and then the table data. TD is called as the table data, which is used to insert or define the data in the table cell. The first table cell value is called as the first number. As I said in the earlier, here we need to perform the basic operations. In order to perform this basic operations, we are considering two inputs, the first number as well as the second number. In order to specify that first number, we are giving some label to the table cell called as the first number. The next thing is that we are reading that first number using one of the form category tag called as that input. The name itself tells that in order to retrieve the or in order to take the input from the users, we are using this tag called as an input. And also which is specified by using the attribute called as the type. Type is equal to text says that whatever the input we are giving, it is considered in terms of text, and we are giving one more attribute called as the name. Name is equal to num1. Whatever the input which we are given in the place of a first number, which will be considered as the number 1. And then we are creating one more table data, but here we are using one attribute called as the row span. This row span attribute specifies the number of rows a cell should span, that is it should enlarge or it should merge into a single data cell, that is equal to 2, that is it is merges two table data cells into a 1. Next is we are creating one more button called as the input type is equal to submit. What is the use of that button means later I will explain. After reading the first number, we are reading the second number. For that number also we are taking the input from the user using the tag called as the input type is equal to text and name is equal to num2. After reading the both the number 1 and 2, then we are creating one more button called as the type is equal to submit button. The name is given as the submit and the value which is given as what? Calculate. Once we enter both the numbers number 1 and number 2, after we will going to submit by using the button, submit, then it will going to perform the respective actions, then close the form tag. Here afterwards, the PHP scripts get started. Here also we are embedding the PHP inside the HTML document. We know that every PHP document should start with a symbol less than question mark followed by the PHP keyword. Next, we use one function called as that isSet function. What do you mean by that PHP isSet function means which checks whether the variable is set or not, which means that it has to be declared and is not a null. This function returns true if the variables exist and it is not null, otherwise it returns false. Know the syntax of this isSet function. It's set followed by the variable followed by the different parameters, but here we are using one mandatory parameter, that is a required parameter called as the variable, which specifies the variables to be checked. Here I am specifying $_post. What do you mean by this $_post means, which is a PHP super global variable which is used to collect form data after submitting an HTML form with the method is equal to post. Try to understand here. In this form method is equal to post, we created two values, that is for fetching the value of number 1 as well as the number 2. After that we are submitting. Once we submit means here this function it will going to check for that whether the variable is set or not by using the $_post. This $_post is a PHP super global variable which is used to collect the form data after submitting an HTML form with the method is equal to post. Usually it is widely used to pass the variables. Once we submit means it has been checked, then we are just look at that PHP post, that is a $_post is a super global variable. Once we specify that, or once we says that the variable has been set means, then we are fetching that value, that is by using $num1 is equal to $_post of num1. Here we are collecting the value of num1 and assign to the variable num1. Likewise we are collecting one more value called as the num2 and has been assigned to the variable called as the $num2. After that, we are checking condition, that is by using one function, that is numeric function in PHP. This function checks whether a variable is a number or a numeric string. This function returns true, that is 1 if the variable is a number or a number string, otherwise it returns false or nothing. Here I am cross verifying that whether the entered two values, that is the first number and the second number, are they number or not. If they are number means we can perform the basic operations of calculators. For that reason we are checking. If the condition is true means then we are performing the different operations called as addition, subtraction, multiplication as well as the division. Just look at that. Here I am using one echo, that is to print the message called as the addition in that table. Try to understand. We are creating one more table row called as the TR. Inside that TD the value is called as the addition. Then I am performing the addition of two numbers. Here this dot notation which is used to combine the two strings in the PHP. Then I am performing the addition of two numbers, that is $num1 plus $num2, that is a plus operator indicates the addition of two numbers. For likewise we are performing subtraction as well as the multiplication and lastly the division. After that we need to close the table tag. For another thing is that here in this condition we are checking that whether the given input are numbers or not. If they are numbers, we are performing the basic operations of calculators like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. If it is not means, if the condition is false means, again we need to print some error message, that is the enter a valid number or whatever the input which we are entered it is error means. For that reason we are merging, again we are embedding JavaScript inside this HTML document. Try to understand. In this program we are combining three languages, that is HTML, PHP as well as the JavaScript. In the else part we are writing the JavaScript, that is script type is equal to text slash JavaScript, which is used to embed the client side script inside this HTML. After that, we are using a method called as an alert method, which is used to define or which is used to display the warning messages, which is having one, which will going to display one dialog box inside that, which is having one button called as the OK button, which takes the parameter, that is the input here is the enter valid number. After that, closing the script tag and close the PHP script, and lastly close the body, and lastly close the HTML tag. While executing this program, we're going to get the results like this. Just look at that. We created a table. Before that, we specify the caption for the table called as the simple calculator. Then we created the first row called as the first number. Data cell value is the first number, and we created one more table cell. But here we are taking in input. In terms of using the form category tag called as an input tag, type is equal to text. After that, we are reading one more variable called, that is a one more value called as the second number. After that, we are merging this rows into a, that is two rows into a single value called as a calculate. Here it is a submit button. Once we click on this button, it will going to perform the different operations. First, we enter the first number, then the second number, then we're going to click the button calculate. After that, it will going to check for the condition whether these two numbers are number or not. If they are number, it will going to perform these four operations. If it is not, it will going to display an error message, that is enter a valid number. It's about the lab program 8. That is the first part, implementing the simple calculator using PHP. Okay, let's move to the second part of this program, that is find the transpose of a matrix, multiplication of two matrices, and lastly the addition of two matrices. Anyhow, we discussed how to implement the simple calculator operations using the PHP program, right? Now let's move on to the remaining part of this program. Just have a look on this. This is the code snippet for performing the addition, multiplication, as well as the transpose of two matrices. This is the code snippet for matrix operations. For addition, for multiplication. Okay, now let's start in detail. We already know that every PHP script should start with this symbol, that is a less than question mark followed by a PHP keyword. It is mandatory. Next, we created two arrays. There is a two array variables in PHP. The array function, which is used to create an array, and also there are three different ways of creating the arrays in PHP, that is indexed, associative, as well as the multi-dimensional arrays, that is arrays containing one or more arrays. We are discussing about the multi-dimensional arrays, that is the two-dimensional arrays, that is having both the rows as well as the columns. Here initially we created a first array, and the array's elements will be assigned to a variable called as the a, that is $a is equal to array, whatever the array elements which we have created, and it will be assigned to the variable called as the $, that is a. Likewise, we created one more array variable and assigned that values to the variable called as b. Now, the variable a and b are called as the two array variables. Next, we used one function called as the count function. What is the use of that count function? Means this function which returns the number of elements in an array. The syntax is that count of array comma mode, but we are using only one parameter, that is called as an array name, that is a required, which specifies the array, whereas the mode indicates, which is an optional parameter, which specifies that the mode, that is the possible values are 0. It indicates that default does not count all elements of multidimensional arrays. 1, which indicates the counts the array recursively, counts all the elements of multidimensional arrays. Just look at that. Here we used one variable called as m. What is the use of that variable means, in order to count the number of rows in an array elements, we use that count of $a, that is which will going to return the number of elements in an array to this variable m. Likewise, we used one more variable called as an n, which is used to hold the size of that columns in an array. uh, that is by using $a of 2, that is the index 2, which indicates the counting of that columns. Likewise, we created two more variables, that is for p as well as the q, and also which contains the array elements of that array b, as well as the number of columns which are present in that array elements. What is the reason for taking this four variables means, as we already know that in the question, here we need to perform the addition of two matrices, multiplication as well as the transpose of a matrix. For that reason, we need to have the count of rows as well as the columns, that is the numbers which are present in the respective arrays. For that reason, we are taking here m and n indicates the number of rows and columns in an array A, as well as P and Q indicates the number of rows and columns in an array B. Next, after that, we need to print the first matrix. Try to understand, here we are not giving the input directly in the program itself. We are specifying the array elements instead of getting the input through the standard input devices. So simply we are specifying the array elements in the program itself. Here you can give your own values for that array elements. First, I am printing the array element by making use of that echo statement, that is which is available in the PHP script. Next, first we are going to consider the first row index. Next is the column index, in order to read both the rows as well as the columns. Then we are printing the first array element. Just look at that. Here we used two for loops. The first for loop is for row indexing. The second for loop is for column indexing. Initially we starts with the value 0 until unless this for loop will works up to the that is the size of an m, that is the count of that array elements which are present in the array A, and as well as we are checking for that condition until unless which becomes false. Likewise, we are checking for the condition columns also. Initially it is 0 and we are checking up to the condition that is less than n, and if we are keep on incrementing until this condition becomes false. After that, we will going to print each and every array elements in terms of rows and columns which are present in an array A. Likewise, we are printing the second matrix elements by making use of that row indexing as well as the column indexing. Just look at that. For the second row, the row index value is taken in terms of P, whereas for the column it is taken as Q. Here also we are printing the second matrix elements. After that, we are performing the transpose of a matrix. First, we are performing the transpose of a matrix. What do you mean by the transpose of a matrix means? Here, remember, here we can perform transpose of both the matrix, but in our program, I am performing only the transpose of the first matrix. We can also perform for the second matrix. What do you mean by that transpose of a matrix means? The transpose of a matrix is simply a flipped version of the original matrix. We can transpose a matrix by switching its rows with its columns. We usually denote in the symbol called as AT. That is, we are interchanging the rows as well as the columns. And we are printing in terms of a transpose of a matrix. The name itself tells the transpose, that is exchanging rows to columns and columns to rows. For that reason also, we are taking both the row indexing as well as the column indexing. But look at that, first I am printing the columns, then I am printing, and then I am reading the rows. Try to understand, first I am printing the columns, then I am printing the rows. Now it becomes the rows as well as the columns, that is they are interchanged. Next is, we need to perform the addition of two matrices. Here, in order to perform the addition of the two matrices, we need to check for the condition. That is, by using the decision making statement, simple if statement, $m triple equals $p and $n triple equals $q. It is a conditional, that is equivalent to the whether this m is equal to p as well as n is equal to Q. That is, M is indicates the row size of matrix A, P is the row size of matrix B. If they are equal, along with that, if the column size of matrix A is equal to column size of matrix B, if both the conditions are equal, then only we can perform the addition of two matrices. Here we are printing the addition of two matrices. Then we are writing both the row index as well as the column indexing. We already know that there are three rows as well as the three columns. So we are directly taking it as the 3. But initially we starts with a 0. Hence we are taking the limits up to less than 3. After that we are performing the simple addition of the two matrices. The matrix addition can be done when the same dimension of the matrix are there. Addition of matrix by another matrix is obtained just by adding the corresponding entries of the matrices. Just look at that. The row of that is the first element row as well as the column has been added to the second element, second array element row as well as the column. Likewise, it will keep on incrementing unless this conditions becomes false. Once the inner loop condition becomes false, means it get exit from that loop. Next is the last operation called as the matrix of multiplication. In order to perform the matrix multiplication, we need to check for one condition called as if $n is equal $p. What do you mean by that? Means the number of columns of the first matrix must equal to the number of rows of the second matrix. Then only we can perform the matrix multiplication. And the result will have the same number of rows as the first matrix and the same number of columns as the second matrix. After that, if the condition is true, means then we are printing that message, the multiplication of matrices. Initially, we are taking one more array to print the result, that is a result array. After that, we are checking that condition. That is for row indexing as well as the column indexing. After initially the resultant array is 0. After that, we are keep on multiplying the that is array elements in order to get the result of that multiplication of the two matrices. Anyway, you already know this basic concepts in your primary education itself. So the same logic has been implemented by making use of the PHP code. After that, we are printing the resultant array, that is a multiplication of two matrices. After that, we know that in order to end any PHP script, we are using the symbol question mark greater than symbol. This ends the lab program 8 basic operations of that matrices, that is addition, multiplication as well as the transpose of a matrix. After executing that, you will going to get the output like this. Remember one thing, here we are not giving any input to the program. Directly we are specifying the content in the program itself, that is the values of first matrix as well as the second matrix. After that, we are printing, that is we are printing the first matrix and the second matrix. Then we are performing the transpose of a first matrix, that is interchanging the rows and columns of a first matrix. Then we are performing the addition of two matrices and lastly the multiplication of two matrices. Here you can also perform the subtraction of two matrices. You can add the code snippet for this in order to perform the subtraction along with that transpose of a second matrix. This is about the lab program 8. Thank you.